You won't believe what happened next. A live audience is buzzing, cameras are rolling, and a group of protesters storms the stage. The host stands his ground, voice steady. "This is my show." That line wasn't just a clapback. It was a battle cry from Arsenio Hall, a man who spent years juggling celebrity ego, culture wars, and raw human mess on late-night TV. Tonight, we're digging into the moments that nearly broke him: awkward interviews, public takedowns, and one booking so controversial it set parts of the industry on fire. Let's start with that stage invasion. Weeks of rumors had accused his show of shutting out openly gay guests. Then, mid-tapping, activists marched on set. Most hosts would have cut to commercial. Not this guy. Arsenio Hall faced it head-on. He pushed back hard, made space for dialogue, and after the heat apologized for the tone, not the principle. Was he perfect? No. But that night, he refused to be a puppet for anyone's agenda. It wasn't about shutting doors, it was about who controls the room. And when he said, "This is my show," you felt the weight of someone protecting his craft in real time. Now, flip the vibe. The most brutal interviews aren't always the loud ones. Sometimes they're heartbreak in slow motion. Enter Milli Vanilli, Rob Pilatus, and Fab Morvan walking into the studio right after the lip-sync scandal blew their careers to pieces. Months earlier, they'd been global superstars. Now, they were punchlines. Arsenio Hall could have gone for a viral ambush. Instead, he asked the human questions. Did friends ghost you? Did the label call? Did anyone stand by you? Their answers were daggers. Friends vanished. The machine that made millions off them didn't even offer a warning before the storm hit. And when he gave them a shot to sing live to reclaim some dignity, what we saw wasn't a perfect comeback. It was two young men clawing for a future. Yes, they lied. But that night, you saw the cost of a bad choice multiplied by a ruthless industry. If you've ever wanted redemption to land, and it didn't, you know exactly how that felt. From fragile to frosty, let's talk icons. Diana Ross walks in, and the red carpet practically unrolls itself. Special lights, precise camera angles, pre-cleared questions, everyone expecting sparkle. What they got felt scripted. When Arsenio Hall tried to find the person behind the legend, little stumbles, awkward moments, a story that wasn't manicured, he hit a wall. She kept it on brand, album to promote, legacy to protect, image to maintain. Even the charming anecdotes sounded like press kit copy. When the show wrapped, the notes from her camp complained. The questions were too personal despite being approved in advance. That's the moment you realize fame can build a fortress so tall, even honesty can't climb it. And then there's the culture clash. Vanilla Ice sat down at the height of his fame, riding Ice Ice Baby into every living room in America. But the room was tense. Critics said he was cashing in on a culture he didn't fully understand. Arsenio Hall didn't dance around it. He brought up the comments, the credibility questions, the street story inconsistencies. At one point, Ice literally lifted his shirt on TV to show stab wounds, scars, as proof. It landed awkward. Respect in hip-hop isn't about injury receipts. It's about the community's verdict. When Ice brought out Flavor Flav mid-interview, it felt less like brotherhood and more like a borrowed shield. The takeaway wasn't that a white rapper can't be real. It was that authenticity isn't a prop you can wheel on stage. Now, for the hit that came from outside the guest chair. In 2016, Sinead O'Connor posted an explosive claim tying Arsenio Hall to Prince and drugs right after the world lost Prince. No evidence. Heavy implication. Career-killing territory. Hall sued. She retracted and apologized. But if you've N4 ever had a lie about you travel faster than the truth, you know, the stain lingers. For him, it wasn't about a payout. It was about clearing his name, and protecting a friendship that meant something beyond TV bookings. And then, the booking that still echoes. Louis Farrakhan, even before he walked on stage, the backlash started. Why give a platform to a figure known for inflammatory statements? For Hall, it was journalism. A controversial leader at a pivotal moment, with the Million Man March looming. He kept the conversation grounded, challenged what needed challenging, and let viewers hear the ideas firsthand. But nuance dies fast in a headline. Advertisers got jumpy. Affiliates grumbled. Pundits framed it like endorsement rather than interview. Here's the painful part. When other big-name journalists interviewed polarizing figures, they were praised for bravery. When Arsenio Hall did it, some corners moved the goalposts. As a black host talking to a black leader, he wasn't granted neutrality. He was forced into sides. Did this single interview end his show? He says the decision to step away predated it. But public narratives are stubborn things. The episode became a symbol of how quickly a career can be judged, not by your questions, but by who you dare to question. So what ties all of these together? Power. Who has it? Who pretends to? Who loses it overnight? Rob Pilatus and Fab Morvan taught us that the machine loves you until it doesn't. Diana Ross showed how myth can swallow the person inside. Vanilla Ice proved that borrowing a culture without understanding it is a ticking clock. Sinead O'Connor's post revealed how a single claim can outrun facts and burn reputations. And Louis Farrakhan's appearance showed how journalism gets punished when audiences refuse gray areas. Through it all, Arsenio Hall stood in the blast zone, sometimes graceful, sometimes raw, always human, trying to make good television in a world that feeds on controversy, but punishes the people who touch it. And that brings us back to the line that keeps ringing, "This is my show." It wasn't arrogance, it was ownership of the questions, of the standards, of the consequences. Hosting isn't just telling jokes between bands, it's walking a tightrope over a canyon of public opinion while holding a torch everyone wants to blow out. Some nights you soar, some nights you singe your eyebrows, but you keep walking. At the end of the day, those infamous episodes weren't just messy TV. They were mirrors showing us our hunger for scandal, our impatience with nuance, and our habit of cheering for truth until it makes us uncomfortable. If you want more deep-dive stories like this, where we cut the hype, keep the humanity, and tell it straight. Hit like, drop a comment with the guest moment you still think about, and subscribe. Now, whose stage should we step onto next?